Welcome to Gig Masters, ladies and gentlemen, your channel for how to get and keep more gigs. I'm your host, Mooney Man. On this episode of Gig Masters, we're going to talk about 3 things that will get you fired fast. Before I start with the 3 things, I'd like to say thank you for all of you guys who have been coming back and watching the episodes, and thank you for clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell and leaving comments below. Thank you very much. I'm trying to grow the channel, and it's not the most glamorous subject in the world. If you want to learn how to play music, go watch Rick Beato. I'll leave a link below. He's the best. I love him. As a matter of fact, I'm subscribed to his channel and I watch his episodes every day, or as often as he puts them out. On this channel, we do weekly episodes, and the subject matter is a little less glamorous than how to play guitar or how to sing or what makes this song great or how to do music. I'm not going to teach you how to do music, but we are going to give you tips on how to get and keep more gigs. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, click that bell. Select the thumbs up button, leave a comment. Let's get right into it. 3 things that will get you fired fast. Number 3 is keeping your performance area clean, especially after you pack your gear, load out, and have left the area. I always like to do what's called a dummy check. After I've loaded all of my gear back in the gig rig, I come in one more time to make sure that there's no empty glasses, paper towels, or anything that one of my bandmates may have left. Evan Barr, my saxophone player, leaves something every time. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Anyway, he leaves something pretty much every gig. Love him. He's a great saxophone player, but never cleans up behind himself. And other guys that I've played with over the years have done the same thing. But when you're on a solo, check behind yourself. Make sure you didn't leave any empty cups or guitar picks, or you know what I've seen a lot is I'll go in to do a gig and there's a bunch of broken guitar strings laying on the performance area or on the stage. It just shows a lack of concern. Clean up after yourselves. Habitually leaving a mess after you leave a gig will prevent you from getting callbacks. It will prevent you from getting more gigs, and eventually it will culminate in you not being asked to come back. So clean up after yourselves. Now let's move on to number 2. Number 2. And these aren't the top 3, they're just the 3 things that come to mind for this episode. So number 2 is you will start to see that a lot of venues will keep an in-house piano. Okay? Don't touch the piano. Unless you are booked to play the piano, do not touch the piano. Don't put your drink on it. Don't put anything on it. Don't play it. Stay away from it. I'm going to tell you a little story. It's happened to me in the past. And then on the number one one, I'm going to tell you a story as well. But as far as number 2 goes, with respect to staying away from the piano, years ago, I had a saxophone player come in. It was a fill-in. I'm not going to say his name because he was a one-time deal. But he was this old cranky son of a bitch. And he comes in and he wasn't happy or something, and he walks right up to the performance area where he sees the band setting up, and the manager of the venue's there, and they've got this, it's probably a $30,000 grand piano sitting just to the side of the stage. And it's always there, whether you need it or not, whether they book you as a piano gig or piano act or not, they always have that piano there. Well, this sax player comes in and just flops his ratty old saxophone case right up on top of this shiny new $30,000 grand piano right in front of the venue manager. Well, guess what? I got fired.
My friend, you're fired. Now pack your things and get out.
The manager asked me to leave. Yeah, we didn't even do the gig. So in turn, I had to fire the sax player. He never played with me again, and I did not pay him for that night. Matter of fact, I basically gave his information to the manager so that the manager could sue him for damages to the piano. And everybody lived happily ever after. Not. I never got to play back at that venue, even though I did apologize and try to make things right. I didn't get called back. So I learned a valuable lesson. Make sure that the people that you call to be in your band, and you know what we'll do in a future episode is how to form a band, pitfalls and the pros and cons of doing auditions for bandmates and so forth. I'll do that in another episode. But be careful who you call in on a gig. Okay. Number one way to get fired, and this might be the number one way of all time. Do not use profanity on a hot mic. If you're performing, especially at a venue that's upscale, that is family oriented and involves the general public at large, do not use profanity during times of bantering with the crowd or singing. If you have a song that has a bad word in it, change the word. That's my advice. Especially if you got little kids, roaming around. I'm going to tell you another story. Years ago, probably 20 years ago, I've got a band gig, and we're doing 2 or 3 nights a week at this place in Fort Myers Beach, Florida. And it's a great gig, and the crowds are always responsive, and the crowds were generally made up of families, tourists. The age demographic went all the way from infants to 100-year-old people. Anyway, the venue was always packed when we played, and it was we were playing touristy type music, beat, and this place was right on the beach, and it would seat roughly, I don't know, between 100 and 150 people. And one night, my bass player calls out sick, so I had called a fill-in. I won't mention his name because he's currently working in my market and doing okay. He could do better if I was his manager, but he's doing okay. But years ago, when he first moved to town, he was looking for work, so I hired him as a fill-in bass player. He's also a very accomplished guitar player, but on this night, I needed a bass player. So we're playing along. He knows all the tunes fairly well, and we all night long, I keep seeing him over on the other side of the stage with, at the time, I was using another guitar player. So the guitar player and the bass player were both standing over on the other side of the stage. And all night long, this fill-in bass player kept telling my guitar player, "Hey man, you're doing that wrong. Hey man, that's the wrong chord. Hey man, I would have done it this way." So what the new guy didn't realize is that Billy, the guitar player, is a psycho and has a tendency to snap. And that's exactly what happened. On the towards the end of the third set, close to the end of the night, Billy couldn't take this anymore from the bass player, who turns out to be, he was kind of an asshole. But and I don't work with him anymore because of this one instance. And I don't work with Billy either because I had to fire Billy, and I'll tell you why. All night long, the bass player is saying, "Billy, that's not right. You're playing this wrong," blah, blah, blah. So on a hot mic, between songs, Billy says, "Hey, you man," to this bass player. Well, the whole place stopped eating. You could hear a pin drop. And way over across the other side of the room, the manager, who is this Italian guy who is actually he's a Sicilian. He owns this pizza place, this seafood and pizza place right on the beach. Very popular spot for decades. Well, he owns this place. And when he hears my guitar player, Billy, say, "F you, man," and sees the reaction of the crowd, everybody eating and everybody standing around, just their jaws drop and it's complete silence. Well, he looks over at me and goes, so we stop. We pack our gear. I come in at the end of the night after we've packed up and I've told those guys, hang on, I'm going to go in and get the money. So I go in and get payment and I come back out. Well, before I go out to pay the guys, this Italian guy, I won't mention his name and I won't mention the place that we were working, but he says, rightfully so, he says,
My friend, you're fired. Now pack your things and get out.
So he pays us, reluctantly by the way, and I go back out to the parking lot where the guys are waiting to get paid, and I had to tell Billy, that's it, you're fired. And for the new bass player, I had to tell him, you're fired. And I'm not going to call you back. Dropping the F-bomb on a hot mic at a gig will get you fired.
My friend, you're fired. Now pack your things and get out.
Trust me. So, ladies and gentlemen, if these tips have been helpful, please check out the other episodes. Click that like button, leave a comment below, and please subscribe. Tick the little bell. You have been watching Gig Masters. How to get and keep more gigs. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. Have a great evening. Now, let's go get those gigs.
My friend, you're fired. Now pack your things and get out.